Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and talk about the differences and kind of compare three of the largest streaming services for music. These are Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Premium. Now, I love these things a lot. I've been using all of these for the most part for the last few months now, and I made separate videos kind of combining and talking about the differences between these. And I will tell you, there really isn't a coherent winner between all of these. If you're somebody who wants to go ahead and have a somewhat free trial or free method, well, you do have a little bit more ways with one. You do have a little bit more effort, I will say, with two of these. The third one doesn't really have a complete free trial, but with YouTube Music, Spotify Premium, and Apple Music, these are very, very awesome apps. And if you're somebody who wants to go ahead and just listen to music, you can't really go wrong with either one of these, to be honest. Now, starting off, a lot of these you can get on a lot of different operating systems. For example, Spotify Premium you can get on really anything. YouTube Music, the same thing. Apple Music, from what I do understand, works the best with Apple products. So that is one thing to keep in mind. Apple really does a great job with kind of just, first of all, including Apple Music with all their different products, but also AirPods and different Apple accessories work very well with Apple Music. So if you're somebody who's engrossed in the Apple ecosystem, Apple Music may be the one that's probably suitable for you. But with Spotify Premium, even with YouTube Music, a big asset for these specific apps are actually with their free plans and free trials. So all these offer free trials. Apple Music has a 3-month free trial for all the features. Spotify Premium has, the Spotify Premium free trial, and YouTube Music the same exact thing. But only two of these actually offer a free plan. So Apple Music does not offer a free plan. It's a 3-month free trial, and then that's it. If you don't want to pay for it after, you will not be able to use Apple Music in any capacity. With Spotify Premium, you can still listen to these songs with ads, which I think is awesome. You can also, download these for offline listening, but that's still okay. YouTube Music, it's pretty much the same exact thing. You can listen to the music free with ads, but you don't get any downloads, you don't get any offline listening, and you don't get any background play, which that is kind of annoying. I don't know why, but regardless, that is probably one of the bigger things to keep in mind. Now, in terms of the plans and the cost themselves, they are all roughly around the same thing. So there really isn't that big of a difference, I will say, in terms of the price tag. They all offer student plans, standard plans, and family plans as well. So with the student plan, if you're somebody who's a student, they are all pretty much $5 a month. So if you're a student, you'll be able to use all these, specific, offerings from these applications for $5 a month, which I think is great. The standard plan, so if you're an individual, not a student, whatever, they are all around $10 a month. So that is another thing. All of these, like I mentioned, they're around the same price. There really isn't that big of a difference between all of them. Now, in terms of the song library right now, it does look like as of right now, Apple Music is pretty much the leader in terms of how many songs they have available on their platform. But I don't think that's a reason to go for Apple Music. I think all the songs that are available on Apple Music are pretty much there on Spotify Premium. It really just is with YouTube Music that is kind of the one that may be on the back burner a little bit. I will say, from my experience, I have been able to find a lot of songs within YouTube Music, so I don't think that's a deal breaker in my opinion, and I don't really think that's the reason why I wouldn't pick up YouTube Music or listen to it. But like I mentioned with Apple Music, that is somewhat of the leader. There's also a big thing with releases of albums. One thing I've seen for many, many years now, probably since even I've been listening to music, is that anytime an artist goes ahead and releases a new album or whatever, a majority of the time it's usually on Spotify or Apple Music first. And sometimes it can even be a Spotify Premium, exclusive, or an Apple Music, exclusive for the first 2 days or first day or something like that. That's happened a few times. I don't really remember exactly which albums, but a few artists have kind of teamed up with these specific applications and, released them on their, platforms a little bit earlier. But over time, all these applications end up getting the songs. So if you're trying to listen to some older songs or some songs from, maybe a year ago, well, then they're going to be available most probably on all the platforms. So again, that is probably one of the bigger things to keep in mind. But like I mentioned, when you have Spotify, the free version, or you have, YouTube Music, the free version, you can just listen to those and not have to go ahead and, bother about, which one is the better one, or, do I have to have this plan or this plan? You can just create a free account and just listen to the songs there. So it's not really that big of a deal. Apple Music is the only one that does not offer a free plan. But this kind of makes sense as well, mostly because of the, quote unquote, better audio experience you can get from Apple Music, especially on your Apple products. So I will say, if you're somebody who owns a lot of Apple products, you have a MacBook, iMac, you have an iPhone, an Apple Watch, AirPods, going with Apple Music may be the better choice for a lot of people, just because it does offer you just a better experience overall. The better audio quality, it merges very well with your other Apple products, and even with your Apple Watch, it works really well with those too. Now, on top of that, Spotify, I do think, is probably the best one if you want to go ahead and get a plan on all your products. So if you have a Windows computer, if you have an Android, if you have an iPhone, if you have a Mac, if you have all these products, Spotify is the one that I think works the best. I love how you can just go ahead, especially if you're somebody who already has their music curated on Spotify. They're spending a lot of money, I think, on their podcast realm. And I think over time, the growth within Spotify, there's a little bit more there than with Apple Music or even with, YouTube Music, to be honest. I feel like YouTube Music still has probably the most it has to grow. But with Spotify, I think this specific application is in a very, very good spot to where in the future, this is probably going to be the one where I see myself using the most. It is the, my most used, music streaming software that I use right now. I do use Apple Music, like I mentioned, and YouTube Music, but Spotify, it just has my stuff built in. I have it on my, TV, my smart TV app. I have the Spotify app. You can get it on a lot of other applications too. So that's another really, really big thing as well. Now with YouTube Music, this is probably the one where I would say, hey, if you want to just, try it out, go for it. You can try it out for a month for free. But this is the one where I would kind of have the hardest time recommending it to people. I just feel like with Spotify Premium, it just kind of covers everything you'd probably want with YouTube Music. So that is probably the biggest thing to keep in mind. However, if you are somebody who's really involved with YouTube, or if you have an Android phone, a lot of Android phones already come with YouTube Music pre-installed. So you can always go through and, use YouTube Music that way as well. So when it comes down to it, my hierarchy would probably be Spotify number one for pretty much all users out there. Whether you have whatever devices you have, Spotify is probably the one I would recommend the most to, every single person out there. Now for specific Apple users, if you are somebody who uses a ton of different Apple products, it may make sense to use Apple Music. They do have a little bit more content in terms of music and everything on that platform. But I think Spotify is catching up and it may already beat it in the next few years, who knows. YouTube Music, on the other hand, is probably the one where if you, for some reason, just love YouTube Music, if you love, there's a specific reason why you need YouTube Music. I do believe there are some plans out there with YouTube Premium that probably offer YouTube Music for free. I could be totally wrong, but I think there's something along the lines of that. Hey, then go for it. I think that would make a lot of sense. But I think as of right now, that's kind of what make the most sense to me. And that's probably how I kind of sum it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.